If you want to learn more about effective management, head over to mattsingers.com and sign up for my free management training.
Welcome to the Mad Singers Management Podcast from madsingers.com, where entrepreneurs and business managers learn and share. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a review.
Hello, and welcome back to the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Karena Calhoun. Welcome.
Thank you, Mads. I am honored to be here.
Excellent. And Karena, I am super excited to talk with you because you're going to talk about some of the things that I personally find very important, not just for business owners, but also human beings in general. And you're really an expert in helping people find and discover their purpose and how they can stop chasing the dream and actually live it instead. So I think we'll have a great conversation today.
Yes, absolutely.
So before we get started and jump into it, there's people around the world who don't yet know who you are, believe it or not. But would you mind doing a little bit of an introduction and just tell them more about yourself and how you ended up where you are today?
Absolutely. Thank you. I am, again, Karena Calhoun. I live in Richmond, Virginia, here in the United States. I like to say, Mads, that I'm currently doing life with my best friend and husband. And I have been doing mindset and life coaching for a while now. I actually started out in corporate America in leadership and just filtered over into what I'm doing now. And I have absolutely positively loved it. And I am helping women, specifically entrepreneurs and influencers, really discover their purpose, unveil their authentic selves, and really crush their goals. So that's what I've been up to recently.
That sounds awesome. And I think it's one of the most fulfilling things, at least for myself, is when you can help people not just do better, but really help people develop and grow, right? Because one of the things I personally found is that for a lot of people, they need a little bit of push to get on the sort of self-development train or in the learning how to learn train. But when they get started, it's impossible to stop them again. So I love helping people with that first part of the journey.
Absolutely. I love it as well. And you are absolutely correct. Once people get on and they understand where they are, where they're going and the possibilities, it almost can become addictive, to be honest.
Definitely. So if there's listeners sitting out there who feels they haven't yet found their purpose, what is the best way of going around this? What is the best way of trying to get moving in this direction and trying to help yourself find your purpose better?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. There are steps that I like to take people through, but, if you don't have someone around you or you're not able to get in touch with someone that can help you, there are some basic steps that you can take. You can begin to look at your childhood. What were some of the things that sparked your interest? What were some of the things that really excited you? Even sitting down and looking at your present, what are some things that really cause you to explode with excitement now? What are some things that you're really good at? Now, I want to caution here, though, Mads, that you can't really depend on your passion. I have learned from just my own experience that you can mistake passion for purpose. So you want to really be able to differentiate the two. But you want to look at things that you've always been good at. You want to look at things that really, things in society, in the world that get under your skin, things that make you angry, things that make you want to make change in the world. And so these are some of the things that really begin to point to what your true purpose is. So I think those are good steps to begin that process.
Interesting. And how did you do that yourself? So, like, if we could take you as an example, like what was your learning experience like, and how did it go?
Oh, really great question. So I was in corporate America for about 22 years, and I was in the financial industry. I was in management and then in high-level leadership. And because I was in that industry for so long, I wanted to be able to become a financial coach. I wanted to help people with their credit, help people with savings, purchase homes, things of that nature. And so I went and I spent thousands of dollars to become a certified financial coach by one of the top financial coaches in the United States. And that was my passion. It was my passion. I absolutely loved it, but I was frustrated. I was making impact, but not the impact that I knew I needed to make. And so I had to sit down and really realize, understand, this is my passion, but it's not really my purpose, because what I found myself doing was hitting brick walls with people. Even though I wanted to help them with their finances, I understood that I had to stop and help them with their life altogether and with their mindset. And so that's when I went through the process of, I am wanting to work in my passion, and I'm chasing this dream that's really not the dream that I should be chasing. And so I moved from that avenue into mindset and life coaching. And so I went through those processes, the things that I had been doing behind the scenes for years, helping people really identify where they want to be, how they want to be, what impact they want to bring in the earth. And it's not just enough to say, okay, well, this is what I've been doing for, 2 decades and I'm really good at it, but it's just not enough. It's not waking me up in the morning with excitement. It's not causing me to have to force myself to go to sleep at night because I'm so excited. And so I had to really sit down and identify this process. And that's how I came about. I went through the process myself, honestly.
Nice. Interesting. It's yeah, I always find it super interesting. And I've always had a, funny you mentioned sleep, I've always had this sort of excitement meter, if you will. So generally when I wake up, things go fast, but typically if it takes me more than 30 seconds to get out of bed from my alarm clock rings, there's typically something wrong in my life, as in there's something I'm not enjoying a lot. And that's, I think that's sort of one of my personal ways of measuring it, right? People are all different, so you can obviously do that in many different ways. But I think sleep, exactly as you said, for you it's about falling asleep. For me, it's the other thing. It's when you actually wake up in the morning, like how eager are you to get out of bed, right? Can you not stop yourself, or are you hesitant? Do you kind of feel that there's something holding you back, right? I think personally for me that have been something that I spent quite a bit of energy figuring out, and it's actually been really helpful for me to have something to look at and compare and kind of see, also to push me on the hard days, right? Because like no matter how passionate you are about things, there will be difficult days, right? Mm-hmm. And if you know that if you know you're measuring yourself and you keep looking at yourself and how you're doing, and that can actually be helpful as well.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree 100%. And I actually struggle. I shouldn't say struggle, but that's one thing that I am faced with every day. In the mornings, I wake up, it's, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm ready to get started on my day, because as soon as my eyes pop open, I'm ready to go, because I'm in my purpose. I've actually married my purpose. And then on the other end of the spectrum, at night, when it's time to go to bed, even though I know my body is saying, go to sleep, my mind is just like, I'm so excited. So yeah, I struggle with both ends of that.
Yep, that makes sense. So obviously you go around discovering your purpose, helping people discover their purpose. What is the next step? What do you do when you actually figure out what it is you want to do with your life, or what it is you want to change? Like what's the next step?
Absolutely. So, Maz, the thing is, I believe, and I say this, not in boast, but I believe I've found what I like to call the secret to life. Because once you have found out really who you are and you've discovered that purpose that's really embedded in you, ingrained in you, the thing is, you don't have time to waste anymore trying to figure these things out. So now you have ample time to, instead of, like we said, chasing that dream, you're actually pulling that life vision towards you. So you're actually pulling it towards you, and you have plenty of time at this point to really go after your goals. You're able to set your goals strategically. You set the task every day. What are the tasks that you need to really master in order to pull that vision towards you. And so when you do that, you're able to really see the vision come closer and closer and closer. So really, once you discover your purpose, you don't have to waste time with the other things. You've actually got that time, like I said, to really crush your goals. And that's why I like to say you're crushing your goals. Because unfortunately, in this day and time, if we're still trying to figure out, well, really, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? We may set goals, but we're just really attaining them. We may meet them, things of that nature. But when you've got all of these other things out of the way, you're able to literally crush your goals every single time. And it is so amazing.
What if you aren't? So what if you feel you found your passion and you aren't crushing your goals?
Then if you know that you found your purpose and you're not crushing your goals, then you need to sit down with someone that can help you really lay out a path to pulling that vision towards you, to how do you then make that purpose real life for you? How do you begin to do that? You set those goals, you set those strategies in place, and then you begin to work them through piece by piece by piece. It's all about that strategy. And it's nothing major. This is, listen, this is not something that it's going to take you. I know there are gurus that say so many different things, but I'm here for the small business owners. It doesn't take a lot of the things that people say it does. You just have to have that line of sight for what that purpose is, and then begin to figure out what are the tasks that you need to do every single day to make it come to fruition.
Awesome. What are some of the tasks you're doing in that regard? So what are some of the things that you're doing on a daily basis to move you closer to your goal?
Absolutely. I am connecting with people all over the world. I am becoming, and I tell this to people, and people are always shocked to hear this, but I am an extreme introvert. However, because I know my purpose, I feel like my purpose should always overshadow any personality type that I have. And so because I know that my purpose is to help other people discover their purpose, I'm reaching out to people every single day. I make sure when I wake up in the morning, I want to talk to people, whether they become a client or not. That is not my goal. My goal is to, how can I help you get at least one step closer to your purpose? How can I help you get one step closer to actually crushing your goal? So that's my goal. I want to touch and talk to certain people every single day. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing right now.
Nice. So yeah, that sounds good. And I think it's always interesting because, again, like I work with lots of people and I have lots of amazing employees and so on. And it's always really interesting to find different trigger points. Like different people are really motivated by different things, right? And in different ways as well. So I always find it super interesting when you sort of learn to figure out the trigger points for different types of people, and the things that actually excites them and motivates them and move them forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, with whatever business you have, whatever solution that you have said to the earth that I'm going to bring this solution for people, for mankind, whatever that is, it's imperative that we really, like you said, find those triggers and begin to move on those. That's a part of our purpose as business owners. That's a part of who we are, and that's a part of what we're supposed to be doing. So absolutely.
Yeah, but that's good. And I think, when you work with people at that level, right, I think even as a business owner, like you get to see your staff a lot. And then again, most human beings spend more time at work than anywhere else throughout their life, right? So having a boss, having a even business owner that actually take people serious and give them not just the time of day, but really give them opportunity for growth and development and so on, is one of those things that can make a huge difference, not just for you, but also for the employee, right? And I think a lot of the time when business owners are hearing about development and growth and so on, they always think like, oh, it's costing money, it's costing time, I need to focus on the things we need to do. But again, like I have employees that I've helped develop skills in like music and God knows what, that's not relevant to my business. but because I've understood that, if you help your employees grow, if they're doing things generally in their life that satisfy them, they're going to be significantly better employees. And one of the things I really enjoy the most is really helping people get on this self-development train, right? And get people who want to. That there's definitely people who are very difficult to motivate and who doesn't have much drive in general, right? And then they can definitely be harder to get moving. But fundamentally, like, a lot of people want to do better. A lot of people are willing to do things to get a better life. And when you find those people, you really want to give them the opportunity to take those steps, right? And what I've always found is people are so that they're so willing to stick around for you, even if it's not the best job or even whatever. If they actually feel fulfilled and if they feel trusted and if they feel taken care of, right? And I think personally, I always encourage employees to go for what they want, right? And I've been very, very happy on behalf of some of my employees because they've done on to do like much greater things than we could offer them at the point in time, right? And I think that mindset, I think, is critically important to build a successful team and to build a team that's really growing with you, right? Because that way, when they feel that you put them first, when they feel that they're being listened to and being seen, that in my experience makes a huge difference in that everything and performance and how they show up every day. Right?
I agree 100%. I'm no longer in corporate America. I've been out of corporate America for about a year and a half, about 2 years now. But the people that I led while I was in corporate America, they are still in touch with me because that impression was so great with them, because that was always exactly what you said. That was always my mission. It wasn't just to simply manage bodies or manage human beings. It was to lead people to, one of my favorite quotes by Rosalind Carter is, a leader leads people where they need to go. A great leader leads people where they ought to be, but don't necessarily know. And so that is one thing that I am extremely keen on, because when we lead people, but we lead them as human beings, we lead them not just for our own benefit, but for their benefit, they are empowered, they are edified, they will take your vision, even your own vision in your company, whatever that vision is, and they will push that vision even further, simply because you have done all of those things to really truly undergird them. I'm a huge proponent for really lifting up the employees that you have, so that they understand they're more than just a body. And so I agree with you 100%, 100%.
I think one of the challenges, and I've spoken with quite a few business owners about that, but one of the big challenges is that most people haven't had an experience like it. All right. And the thing is, if you've only been used to horrible bosses that doesn't really care and so on, then it's very easy to end up expecting that that's what you're supposed to get, right? And it's very easy to end up thinking like, oh, well, if I'm a boss, that's what I'm supposed to be like. But the whole thing for me, and I help train and develop lots of leaders, right? And the whole thing for me is really learning to figure out yourself, learning to get to know yourself better, and really, really learn to embrace who you are, right? The world is full of countless people. I say trying to keep you down. And what I mean is the intention is not to keep you down, but their actions work in such a way that they keep you down, right? And typically, this is everything from parents to friends and whatever, right? Because what tends to happen is that most people are afraid of following their passion. Most people are afraid of doing the things they really want to do, and therefore they tell you not to do it as well. They don't say it in a bad way. They don't say it because they don't want to be good to you, but they say it because they have the idea that, if they didn't have the courage to follow their passion, you shouldn't do it either, right? And so many people are so afraid of failure that they're afraid to take the steps they need to take to make a big impact in the world.
I agree. I agree 100%. I have this thought that I share with people when you are, and I like to call it really unveiling your authentic self. And it's key in leadership. When you have really truly identified your authentic self, then all of the other thoughts and different ways that negative behaviors and different things like that, they begin to just fall by the wayside. You're no longer that person. And so you're able to then see the other people and help them move into their purpose, into their authenticity as well as a leader, regardless of where you are in that company. And so one thing that I tell people is that be very careful that when you do begin to go through that process of unveiling your authentic self, that you're going to have people around you, and they don't mean any harm by it. They're not intentionally trying to pull you back into who you have been for so many years. But be very careful with it and be very adamant and unapologetic about being who you are. It took me myself to do the same thing, to go through the process of, okay, who is Karena? Who is she? What does she want? What does she want out of life? What is the impact that she wants to bring to the earth? And I have to be unapologetically me. If you see a picture of me, you see that right now I have pink hair. It took me years to be able to have that confidence to do that. And so I am unapologetically me. And so what I tell people, Mads, is it's like when you have a bookshelf and say you have not dusted for a certain period of time, and you have a little knickknack on that bookshelf. And then you go to move that knickknack. Well, you see that if the light is shining bright, you can see little dust particles begin to fly around when you move that knickknack. And so that's what I tell people. When you have been in the same spot for so many years, but then you move, that dust begins to kick up. And so I call it that debris. And so when that debris begins to kick up, be very mindful, be very careful that it's okay. It will settle at some point, but the debris is going to kick up because you've been sedentary. You've been in that same spot for so many years, and people have become comfortable and confident in where you are. So don't take it personal. Just keep going. Keep going.
Yep. And I no longer have a bookshelf, but I can see my Kindle is also slightly dusty. So I can totally relate. Excellent. That's very good, Karena. Very good. What sort of resources or where would you recommend people to go if they want to know more about discovering their purpose and, unveiling themselves? What's the best resource? Where have you learned the most, and what do you recommend generally?
I'm going to be very honest with you, Mads. A lot of what I have done, a lot of the information that I have compiled has been through my own life experience, with, being here now half a century on Earth. I have compiled a lot of experience. So I use that. And in addition to that, there are people that I've come into contact with. I like to glean from other people. I like to, not just as clients, but, tell me your story. Tell me how you made it through. How were you able to really get through this process? And so I take a lot of this information and I create my own systems and programs and things like that. But for those that are out there that may not want to go down that road, I would say really just research specifically what it is you want to exact in your life. What change do you want? And then begin to research those specific, if there's books that you want, just be very careful. I'm very cautious with that specific area simply because I believe, because we're in the information age, I don't really like to create what I call, no offense, but information junkies, because we can gather a lot of information and it sits within us. We consume it, but we don't do anything with it. So I would caution people to just, as far as gathering the information, but find someone that can hold you accountable to really move and take action with that information that you have.
That makes a ton of sense. And if people are eager to get hold of you, Karena, what's the best place to do so?
My website, I actually have a website, www.warcry.com. That's WARKRY.com. You can go there and find out more information about me. I also have a link tree that has a ton of links on it where you can find out just different things that I have going on. It's also on my website. You can flip back and forth. It's linktree/Coach Karena, or you can go to my website, like I said, www.warcry.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much for joining me today, Karena. It was great talking to you, and I think it was a very interesting conversation.
Thank you, Mads. This has been a blast. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, have a great day. And to the audience, thank you very much for listening to us today. It was great to have you with us, and we'll be back again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Please leave a review. It means the world to us. You can also learn more about management at madsingers.com.